Welcome to Daily Life Connection. Let's continue to explore the heart of the Father as we find Him revealed in Jesus' incredible story of the prodigal son. In Luke chapter 15, we read that the father divided his property between the two sons. He must have been a very rich man because obviously both of these guys had a lot, and the father still had servants and blessings, and the father must have been a very wealthy person. And he divided his livelihood between them. What I want to share with us today is He is the God of more than enough. The God of more than enough. He didn't just give this younger son enough money to get to a bus ticket to this far country, and maybe enough to sustain him until he could get a job there. This kid went there and didn't have to have a job. He had enough money that he could live lavishly without having to work, because that's how generous his father was. How generous. And you remember he says to the older son at the very end, he says, "You've always been with me, and everything I have is yours." Everything I have is yours. Everything. You have access to everything I have. God of more than enough. That's our Father. That's our Father. He is not only the God of more than enough, He's the God who shares more than enough. He's the God who gives more than enough. Sometimes I've heard people say, well, you know, He gives us just enough grace. I understand part of what they're saying, but you know what? I don't believe it's true. I believe He gives us more than enough grace. An old song, my mom used to love that one. He giveth more grace when the burdens grow. He giveth and giveth and giveth again. When we have exhausted the store of our endurance, He gives more. He doesn't give us just enough to get by. He lavishes. And in Ephesians, it talks about, in Ephesians chapter 1, it talks about the grace God has lavished on us. In 1 John chapter 4 or 5, it talks about that we are the children of God, and He has lavished His love on us. He is a God who is the God of more than enough. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, you know what I think? I think it means that today I have more than enough of God's love to go through this day. We have more than enough of God's mercy to make it through this day. We have more than enough of God's grace to sustain us for the next 24 hours. We have more than enough of His peace to not be agitated and anxious. We have more than enough of His forgiveness to cover every mistake we're going to make today. We have more than enough. Oh, this is just so rich, isn't it? That's our Father. He gives us more than enough. It's not like, oh, you know, God, give us enough to get through this day. He has lavished on us. Lavished on us. Everything we need. Oh, in 1 Peter, 1st or 2nd Peter, anyway, first chapter, it talks about He has given us everything necessary for life and godliness. He has lavished it all on. He gave these sons everything. He divided His estate between them. He didn't just give out. He didn't just give out of His estate. He didn't say, well, you know, I've got $10 million in the bank. I'll write out a check for you for 10,000. No, if He had 10 million in the bank, He gave them 5 million each. He just divided it between them. Incredible. The God of more than enough. No matter what you and I are facing today, our Father has already given, not He has and might give if we ask correctly. You see, that was the mistake the older brother made. He said, you didn't even give me a goat so I could celebrate with my friends. He didn't have to ask for a goat. It was his already. It was his already. He could have gone to the barn any time and had a goat slaughtered for his and had a meal with his friends. But he thought he had to earn it. He thought he had to ask for it. He thought he had to have enough faith for it or something. And so he never enjoyed it. Oh, folks, today enjoy the lavish grace and mercy and goodness and blessings and love of God today. Just enjoy it. Revel in it. Rejoice in it. Soak in it. Saturate in it. Celebrate in it. Revel in it. the God who has given us more than enough of all that he is. You remember back when we talked a couple of days ago about he divided his livelihood, that which sustains him, he gave to them. What sustains our God? Love, joy, relationship, compassion, all justice, righteousness, holiness. Those are the things that sustain our God and he's given us more than enough of all of it. You're more righteous than you need to be. You're more holy than you need to be. You're more loved than you thought you were. We just are. Because he's a God who is a God of more than enough, who lavishes all he is on us. Oh, let's stop and take time to thank him for that today. And just live this whole day in an awareness that he has already blessed us lavishly. That's who he is. That's our Father. We'll talk again tomorrow.